Hey fantastic people, welcome back to our Fantastic Gaming. You can see we're not here with F1 2020 My Team Career Mode because we are starting a new series on this channel, the F2 2019 Driver Career. So we're going to be starting our driver career in F2. The 2020 Driver Career will be in F1, so the F2 career will be in 2019 with the 2019 cars, teams and everything like that. So yeah, I'm really excited about this thing, and the game will explain more about this later on. You can see our character select is already done for my team, so we're going to go ahead with that same character with the same details.
Welcome to the beginning of your Formula 1 journey. Before competing at the top level, many drivers will race in Formula 2. From this screen, you can choose from multiple Formula 2 experiences. The first offers a selection of short scenarios. The short season consists of a shortened Formula 2 calendar with one race per weekend. The full season contains every round, with a feature and sprint race in each. And finally, you have the option to jump directly into Formula 1.
So for this series, we're going to be going with the full F2 season. I want to get the full new experience before we transition into F1.
Formula 2 is one of the key steps many drivers will take on the path to Formula 1. It is a championship where the best up-and-coming drivers in the world must compete in identical cars to hone their skills and showcase their talents to teams in the F1 paddock. Whichever Formula 2 experience you choose, your performance in the championship matters. Finish high up in the table and your Formula 1 career will start on a high, allowing you to more easily negotiate with the top teams on the grid.
The full F2 season is a new feature in the F1 2020 game, and I'm really happy that this is here because I'm really excited about the series. There's going to be a lot of new things to explore, a lot of new things to do, and we're going to explore the world of Formula 2, which I don't think happens enough. So now we come to the team select. So in Formula 2, like Formula 1, there are teams. So this is the 2019 teams, so there are 10 teams rather than the 11 that are there in 2020. So there are a lot of great teams, and I don't think the team really matters because the cars are equal, but otherwise, yeah, there's like around 5 or 6 teams that are consistently doing well, that are usually competing for championships. Prema, Carlin, ART Dams, and as of 2019, even UNI Virtuosi, they're all like the top teams that keep fighting for the championship. And since it is F2 and the cars are all equal, it's very close, so there's extremely low differences. All the races are very close, but I'm gonna go with UNI Virtuosi because, you know, I want to challenge, and you know, I just want to go with that team because I don't want to keep going with the top team and just start off with the top team, and I don't want to have it super easy for me. So we've selected the team. Now it's time to choose a driver academy. So when you're in junior, like, you know, levels like F2, F3, you usually have a driver academy that give you the contract, and you know, they nurture you and take you through your journey to F1. But I'm gonna go with the Ferrari Driver Academy because, you know, they have pathways to really great teams, and they've really nurtured some great young drivers over the years. So Formula 2 regulations are quite like Formula 1, but there are some major differences, and we're gonna see that later, like the race format. The F2 weekend is shorter with only one practice session, one qualifying session, but there are 2 races. So there's a feature race and a sprint race. The feature race is longer, the sprint race is shorter. In scoring, 4 points for pole position, and same points as F1 for the feature race, but it's a little bit different for the sprint race. And in the sprint race, the top 8 finishers of the feature race are reversed in the grid order, so that is really exciting. That's something that's unique to F2, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure about F3 or below, but yeah, it's a great thing that this is there, the reverse grid thing, and I'm really excited to see how that works for us. The qualifying is going to be a full 30-minute qualifying session. Since qualifying isn't that big, I'm going to go for full qualifying, and 25% race, both feature and sprint race, and the difficulty, my normal difficulty, 95 and 96. And in terms of damage, full damage, regular corner cutting stringency, regular corner cutting rules, and the race starts obviously manual and surface and carcass temperature. So now those settings are out of the way, let's head to our first practice session in this F2 car, and I'm really pumped to see how this works.
This first race of the season is always quite difficult for us trackside, and for those back at the factory as well, as it's the first time the car has run since winter testing. The more consistent mileage you can get in these sessions, the happier we'll be.
So Jeff, he had to be here in F2 as well. Yeah, no running away from Jeff there. But now we start our first practice session. It's gonna be in Bahrain because Bahrain is round number 1 in the Formula 2 season, which is great because I live in Bahrain and I absolutely love the circuit. And Bahrain was the first circuit I ever drove on any F1 game. So getting warmed up to this F2 car, it's not gonna be easy. But knowing that I'm gonna be starting at the circuit that I'm best at is gonna help me quite a bit. And coming to the setup, obviously I'm gonna do a little bit with the setup. Tire pressures super low and balance swing 6/6 wings. It's the same setup I go with in F1. And now we're actually gonna go out on track for the track acclimatization program. Unfortunately, there are no resource points in F2 because the cars are identical because they really want to see which driver is the best. So there's no upgrades and everything on in F2, so basically the practice programs are kind of useless. But since I'm just starting off with the series, I want to get the feel of the car, I want to see how it is. That's why I'm going to do this practice program and I'm going to do this practice session. And immediately you can see yeah, we're feeling this car is different. We spun out coming out of the final corner. The traction is a nightmare on this car. It's almost like having no traction control. And yeah, it's really bad, the traction. But it's good that I spun, because then I knew that I knew where I have to improve, I knew what I have to do to get better, and I knew how tentative this car is, how careful you have to be. And coming through turn 1, you can see the traction, yeah, it's not that good as we drift through turn 2. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. So yeah, we got a big snap of oversteer. And yeah, this is really gonna be difficult. Coming through the final corner now, I go into cockpit view to see the steering wheel, which is much simpler than F1 because it's not as complicated, the car. But yeah, coming through the end of the practice program, we actually did pretty well because we could have done much better, but we took it easy. Like, to be honest, I was quite scared through this lap. I didn't want to spin, didn't want to damage the car on my first practice session. But coming to the results, this is very astonishing because it was extremely close. We only finished 3/10 off the lead, but we were in P11 because all the cars are equal, so the margin is extremely low. Up to P5, the gap is not even a tenth. Look at the top 5, and it's just crazy. So yeah, I'm really excited for this qualifying session. I'm pretty sure that qualifying is on the Friday night because the feature race is on a Saturday. So coming to this qualifying session, I'm feeling kind of confident because I've gotten hold of this car. I am gonna do a couple of warm-up laps, but I want to see the kind of lap times that my rivals are putting. So like the top time right now is a 1 minute 40.6, and these are all on soft tires, by the way. So for qualifying in Formula 2, you only get one set of soft tires. So you have to give it everything right now. You have to do your best right now. And yeah, that's what I'm aiming to do on these soft tires. I'm gonna put a couple of laps and I just want to see how it goes. And I want to do well. It's the first round, it's the first impression in this career. I want to do well and I want to get good results so that it can build a good foundation for our Formula 1 career after this F2 season. Coming across the line to start our first lap of this qualifying session, you can see a couple of guys are coming out for their second lap, but this is our first lap. Coming through turn 1, turn 2, just being very careful on the traction. Don't get on the curbs too much because you're going to lose a bit of time. Open DRS quickly down this back straight, and yeah, coming into this corner, I just have to be very careful because it's quite bumpy and quite difficult on the traction. As we move on to the end of the lap, it's been quite a good lap. We've done very well. We haven't made any mistakes. And now coming across the line, what's it going to be? It's a 1 minute 40.450, and it's the fastest lap of the session. Wow, already we've just crossed everybody. This is the same difficulty, no changes. And yeah, that is crazy how suddenly we just got ahead of everybody. I thought, what, that's the end of this lap, we don't need to do more. But then you can see we're actually gaining more time, so we might even do even better. So I go on for another consecutive lap. I think these tires are up to temperature now. They're on their highest level of grip. We've got the first 2 sectors are purple. Now the third sector up around 3.3 tenths, maybe even 3.5 tenths. Opening DRS across the line. What's it gonna be? It's a 1 minute 40.083. We nearly got into the 1 minute 39s. That was such a great lap, 3.4 tenths faster than our previous lap, and I think that's it. I think we've just grabbed pole position in our first qualifying session of our career. It is a fantastic result, and we've taken this pole position by a huge margin, 4.4 tenths. We got 4 points in the championship. We're the championship leaders already. So that was such a huge gap to Jordan King behind in qualifying. That was insane. And yeah, our teammate Guan Yu Zhou finishes a second behind us in P7, and let's head to the race.
Welcome to Sakir and the Bahrain International Circuit, where the grid is forming up ready for today's race. Bahrain represents an exceptional 3.36 miles of racing. Lots of opportunities to overtake throughout its 15 corners. Now, this track has a reputation for being brutal on the rear tyres, so keep an eye on how these young drivers manage their rubber. Strategy here could ultimately determine the winner of this race. Davide, you're a three-time winner around here in 1 week, I believe, back in 2012. How on earth do you make the tyres last around this racetrack? They degrade so quickly.
To be honest, the key to the race is having a good start so you can get your car into a good position. Then save the tires as much as you can and push just at the end.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Falcon lines up on pole position. Starting alongside is Jordan King. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ilott, Hubert, Giuliano Alesi, and De Vries, Joe, Tete Camara, Mazepin, Mick Schumacher, Boccolacci, Matsushita, Jack Aitken, and Boschong, Calderon, Correa, Delatraz, and Sean Galeo. Raghunathan and Nicholas Latifi starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Great start to the season. Let's convert this pole into a win.
I am really agreeing with Jeff. I think we should turn this pole position into a win. You can see I changed the rear wings to 6-7 wings in qualifying because the rear end is really feisty. But now we're going to go to 5 red lights for the first race in our F2 2019 driver career. And why is it taking so long? It's lights out and away we go. It's a pretty bad start because we got too much wheel spin. Jordan King flies past us, Callum Milo flies past us, and now we have to try and get this back into turn 1. We might even lose P3, but now we actually back wheels with Jordan King because we actually hit the throttle a little bit. We feathered the throttle coming through turn 1, side by side through turn 2. Very careful not to spin out. The tires are cold. We have quite a little grip, but now Jordan King is under attack from Callum Milo. What a crazy first lap it is, and we're not even done. We're not even through the first sector. And now we're coming out of turn 4. Quite nightmarish. The traction here is really bad. But Callum Milo has actually gotten ahead of Jordan King. So we backed up Jordan King so much at turn 2 that Callum Milo slipped through and took P2 from our teammate, who is our teammate in F1 2020 My Team career mode. So we look behind and we can see Callum Milo is really closing in on us. He is catching us, and we just have to be very, very careful. Like in these corners like this double left-hander, it's really easy for the player to lose the car, for the driver to lose the car, and the air are going to be pretty much perfect through there. So we just have to keep our heads cool, and we just have to keep ahead of the cars behind. But now moving on to lap number 2, set the fastest lap obviously because we're the leaders. But now Callum Milo in the straight line, he's using that slipstream, which is quite powerful in F2 cars. We brake early and he goes for a move around the outside, but because we broke early, we have a better line through the first corner, get the power down, get the traction done, and we have stayed ahead in P1. And that was a great overtake, a great attempt, but we had to play it smart there. We had to do better than him. And coming through turn 4, you can see there's another major point of overtaking turn 4. And on the exit, we actually gain time because dirty air is quite bad in F2 cars, just like it is in F1 cars. But coming through these corners, we just have to stay ahead basically because we're in P1, and all we have to do is maintain our position. And before we move on to lap number 3, I actually want to show you guys how the car looks. So the F2 car is quite similar to the F1 car. So look at that from the side. You can see it's quite similar to the F1 car, but the aerodynamic is different. It's not so complicated, and overall more simpler. And yeah, it's a little bit different obviously because it's a different class of, it's a different formula. And yeah, now we get back to our race. Enough looking at the car. It's the end of lap number 2. We're going to go on to lap number 3. You can see we're going really fast. The gap behind is around 6/10, so I think in the corners we're really strong. We're stronger than the cars behind. But in the straights, for some reason, even without DRS, the cars behind are going faster. As Dorian Boccolacci, I don't know how to say his name, Dorian Boccolacci, he puts the fastest lap of the race. It is still early days, so it's okay, it's early laps. But you can see coming through the first 3 corners, we actually didn't have a great run. And now Kalamila only less than 2.5 tenths, only 2 tenths behind us. He really caught up, and he had DRS, so DRS is going to be a bit of a pain. But as I said, we're better in the corners, and the gap behind has gone to 8 tenths or 9 tenths, so it's become really good gap, a really good pace we're having today. And yeah, the first 3 corners are a little bit of a nightmare, especially with the curb on turn 1 and in these F2 cars. But otherwise, I think we're doing really well in the middle sector, and I think we have a really strong chance. But as I said, this back straight and these areas with DRS, Callum Ilott can threaten us, and he is threatening us threatening to take this race win, and I really want this race win. Like, come on. It's our first race, and it's our first race in the series, and we always want to start off on a high. And moving on to lap number 6, from then on it was easy sailing. 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds, that kind of consistent gap behind us. So we're just going through the laps, every lap we're just doing better, going faster than the other cars. And I was really enjoying it. I was really feeling the speed in this car, the grip in this car, because the tires really started to rubber in, the track was really feeling good, and I was just feeling really happy. Moving on to the final lap of the race, the last sector is now our strongest sector as per the timings. Coming through turn 1 now, the gap behind has remained kind of consistent, but actually there was a battle going on behind. So Callum Ilott was actually being overtaken by Jordan King, so Jordan King was having one last go at getting P2 and making it like a 1-2 effectively if it was F1tastic Racing. But this is in F2 obviously, so it's different. But you can see Callum Ilott played it quite smart, and he just stayed ahead. And we, even though they were battling, we actually had a bad first corner because we rode the curb a lot. So he actually came within 1 second of us, but he didn't get DRS. So that's one of the main reasons we've been able to keep him behind us, because there is no DRS. But purple middle sector, we are still flying on this final lap. We were doing so well. I'm really feeling so positive as we come through the final couple of corners. We get the power down, and we are gonna come across the line to win the first race in our F2 2019 career, the feature race at Bahrain, water race. And yeah, the race win, that's first place, that's top points. And it's just fantastic. It's really amazing. Driver of the day goes to Nikita Mazepin. And let's watch this podium ceremony. Like, it's gonna be amazing.
So another fantastic victory for Uni Virtuosi. And I have to wonder, Davide Valsecchi, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Although the Formula 2 cars are all the same spec, the winner just looked better out there. It would have been a combination of getting those tires up to running temperature faster and driving to the condition on track. They made it look easy out there today.
So we have won the race. Our podium emote is going on. You can see on the podium our avatar is doing that celebration that we selected, lifting up that winner's trophy. And yeah, that's just amazing. And we're spraying the champagne with our avatar for the very first time on this game. And what a great start to the season. I'm really excited. We're not going to show the sprint race. I'm going to show the sprint race in a separate video, because otherwise the video will be too long. And yeah, this was really great results, great finish. And it just makes me even more excited for the sprint race, because we're going to be starting in P8 on the grid. So our objective is going to be making our way through the field, hopefully into the top 3. Our teammate Guan Yu Zhou not had a great race. He went from P7 to P9, only 2 points from his side, but we got the full 25 points. I don't think we got fastest lap, but we got 4 points in qualifying. And guys, if you did enjoy that video, be sure to smash that like button and smash that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications, because if your notifications are on, you will never miss a new video. This is F1tastic Gaming.